Hello and Sunday Bonani. It is 8:04 Central African Time. My name is Bob O'Connor. Welcome to the second tier of Breakaway League Racing. That was just me testing out the systems. As you can see, we have the likes of Tindo, Mshengu, Liddy, Selby Sambo, Manray, Marshy, Twitch, Sitchfig, Lipo, and Stexa. It should be a good time, if I say so myself. Listen, folks, it's the 10th race of the season. We have just gone over the halfway mark in a season consisting of only 16 races. As Mex is one of the first to join us in the comments section saying, "Let's go, Mex." I look forward to an entertaining encounter out here in Saudi Arabia. Clear skies, it's dusk out here on the Arabian Peninsula, if you will. Jeddah Corniche Circuit is where we are. We'll have a short qualifying session, just 18 minutes for these drivers to stake their claim on a spot at the top of the pops. It's a very simple game, folks. Put in the quickest time, and that'll place you, of course, at the top of the timing tower, i.e. pole position. They have only 18 minutes to do so, and hopefully the likes of Marshy, who seems to have dipped out of the lobby here, hopefully he will be taking full part in this session and indeed the race itself. I do believe we can expect a couple more drivers before all is said and done here, so hopefully within the coming minutes we'll get a clear sense of what our full field will look like and who exactly will be starting this race, which consists in total of 25 laps. Spy Zozo is an Alfa Romeo driver, and he has recently just confirmed his participation in this year's race. Escom needs to pay for its sins, says Kaboza. Absolutely. The rolling blackouts across South Africa impacting availability and, of course, impacting our enjoyment of what would have been full grids. Now, the first ever Grand Prix on this Jeddah Corniche Circuit was in 2021. It's a circuit length of about 6.174 kilometers. A lap record in the real world is held by a certain Lewis Hamilton, 130.734. But this, of course, is racing super competitive in the virtual world. And speaking of competitive, this man, Tindo, currently leads the championship in firm control of Tier 2 proceedings, 98 total points up until this point. He is 20 points ahead of the Haas driver, that being the 86er. In third place is none other than Man Ray, who has fondly earned the title TTK, or Time Trial King. He has really improved rapidly, has Man Ray, over a single lap, but needs from time to time to convert those sensational qualifying times into dominance on track as far as the full race distance is concerned. Tindo, meanwhile, has just been chipping away solidly. Last time out, he tried to keep his nose out of trouble, and, well, that earned him all the necessary points that he needed out in Belgium. And right now, he's got a 20-point advantage on second-placed 86er. Man Ray currently third. Bongani, a.k.a. Debo Crop, fourth in the championship for Ferrari. Context, a.k.a. Justice, is currently a P5 from I Am Lipo, who is in P6. Spy Zozo, that being Tindo's teammate, is 7th in the championship from Mshengu in 8th, Lydia in 9th, Esclexa in 10th. Interestingly, the three drivers leading the championship, that being Tindo, 86er, Man Ray, are drivers who in recent seasons would not have been happy with their relegation to the second tier. The 86er, of course, being the most recent person to have been knocked down a peg as far as the Breakaway League Racing pyramid is concerned. Here comes Tindo into turn 1. He will be the benchmark. Clean exit through the second turn, that of course being the right-hander. It's such a tricky circuit, the Jeddah Corniche Circuit, where the corners just come at you seemingly out of nowhere. A lot of blind corners where you just have to get your line inch perfect. Tindo almost goes too heavy over, but he does exactly that. He invalidates as he was looking to completing the first sector. So Tindo's just going to have to let off the gas and give it another go. Lipo is out of the session, unfortunately for him, so hopefully he could reconnect and, well, show us what he's made of. Here comes M. Shangu. He is, of course, another superb talent, very pacey, completes his Sector 1 with a 33.7, and that's going to be an interesting marker to pay very close attention to. M. Shangu, absolutely sensational, again, over one lap, but has been so unlucky, and from time to time does have unforced errors, which impact his race results. Yes, Lungs, there is indeed an update as far as the game is concerned. Sector 2 split of 103.270 for M. Shangu, whose corner exit there was not so clean because he braked really late coming out of that sequence of corners. And now it is that rush towards that final corner. Slower left-hander, of course. M. Shangu tries to stay as tight as possible as he can to the apex, and he gets a clean exit and will send it rushing across the line with a 31.754, and that, of course, will be the initial benchmark that we have out here. Man Ray, who, of course, we've spoken about, has been sensational over a single lap. His Sector 2 split was in the 102, so he may yet be bumping M. Shangu off that P1 spot. His exit off the last corner was decent. It's Man Ray for the possible provisional pole, and it is provisional pole, 30.986. Sends Man Ray straight to the top. There's now AlphaTauri on the verge of beginning its hot lap in earnest, and I think it is Twitch as well, who is yet to set a time. No, it is Liddy in the Williams, who's just crossed the line, 31.9, good enough for P3, tucks right behind M. Shangu. Liddy will probably be given another go, and we will see what he is made of as far as this session is concerned. Tindo is taking a second bite at the cherry, the man who came out on track before everybody else. So Zotal, it's good to see you in the comment section with just over 12 and a half minutes of this qualifying session to go. Lungs is hoping to be involved here. Oh, if this update goes well, Tindo touches the wall on the entry into the final corner, so not looking very comfortable is Tindo, who currently tops the championship standings, will cross the line, 32.239. It's P4 provisionally for Tindo. Got a lot more in the bank. Definitely has a couple of tenths to find, possibly even a second or two. Well, time will tell. Selby Songo has yet to set a representative time. It's a slow-moving 58.911. That is definitely not representative. Meanwhile, Esclexa, on his first push lap, puts his car P5, 32.349 for the Aston Martin driver, who is looking to challenge and, well, find himself among the top of the pops here as this session trickles on towards its conclusion. Twitch is out on track. Team Red Bull, another driver who is absolutely pacey, and sadly we've been robbed of his participation courtesy of load shedding from time to time. Ooh, but his exit coming out of that corner wasn't perhaps the smoothest, and his Sector 1 split was definitely slower than some of the top runners that we've seen thus far, and he goes too heavy over the track limits and gets himself an unwanted invalidation. So Twitch is going to have to give it another go one more time. We'll see what he is made of. What about Sig Fig? Well, it looks like his Sector 1 split is a 34.243, I believe that was. On board now with the McLaren driver, who is also looking to make his mark on that run towards on the rush towards the end of this season. Currently 13th in the championship, only 26 points racked up. So definitely has got some work to do as far as making his way up the standings is concerned. But he's here to stake his claim and do exactly that. Lifted off the throttle, coming into that fast sequence of consecutive corners towards the end of that second sector. Now it's that iconic rush towards the final corner. The DRS is open. He will take that left-hander. Zotal also hoping that Fana Finder can find his way into the lobby, onto the track on time. He's got 10 minutes to do so. Here comes Sig Fig across the line. 32.8 will put him in P6. Sig Fig staking his claim. Let's get back on board with Twitch and see how his attempt to improve goes. 33.9 is an improvement based on that initial first lap. which was invalidated. Twitch carrying so much speed as those lateral G-forces drag him towards the right-hand side of the track, coming out of that specific corner now into the sequence of corners. Oh, there's a spinning Red Bull. Selby Sango in 6s and 7s in Sector 2. He spun out, he ghosted out, and was passed by his teammate. Twitch now looking to make his mark towards the end of this second sector. 104.1 is his new benchmark. Twitch, what can he do? Can he challenge it like the Bloody? Tindo, Espexa perhaps. Time will tell. He opens up that rear wing and sends that RP18 screaming down towards the final corner. It is Twitch who's kept it clean thus far, as compared, of course, to his initial effort. Takes that final left-hander where Tindo came unstuck a couple of laps ago, and it's a clean exit for the Red Bull driver. Instead, he will open up that rear wing, and Twitch sets a 32.6, and it's P6 nudging Sage Fig and Selby Sango down a peg or two. Sage Fig on his in-lap has, of course, earned that invalidation. And, well, meanwhile, in possible Tier 1 news, Seaflay has something sensational to report. He's about 2/10 down from a possible 26.9 time as far as his simulator time is concerned. So looking absolutely comfortable and sensational. And the quickest man so far is none other than Man Ray, who has really found an extra level. He's really found another gear, so to speak. Oh, and Twitch, possibly on his in-lap in Sector 1, loses his car, faces, well, absolutely the wrong way, and will look to, well, correct and find himself back into the reckoning. As things currently stand, it's Man Ray top of the pops with just under 8 minutes to go. Man Ray from Mshengu and Ludi, that's your top three. Tindo, currently fourth quickest from Espexa, and then Twitch in 6th, Sage Fig in 7th. Selby Sango has yet to set a proper representative time, as does Lipo, Marshy, and Spyzozo, that being the 11th and final driver as things currently stand. Thank you for joining us. It's the second tier Breakaway League Racing. We're on board with the quickest man on track thus far, who is not looking so comfortable on those initial turns into through Sector 1, but he's kept it together. Well, I'll take it back, because not looking comfortable translates to almost a half a second improvement coming through Sector 1. Man Ray in the colors of Alpine is looking absolutely at home out here in Saudi Arabia. Back on board with the Alpine driver we go. Takes those sequences of corners cleanly to begin his second sector. It will open up that DRS and carry as much possible speed as he can down towards the braking zone. Left-hander clean for Man Ray, as is his exit through the double sequence of right-hand corners. Looking absolutely good as Man Ray, and it's looking like a possible improvement to still remain the only person to set a time in the 1 minute 30s or even faster. His final corner is without incident, and of course he will come across that line, open up that rear wing for DRS as he gets fire emojis. He sets a scorching 29.901 to set a new benchmark in the second tier, I beg your pardon, of Breakaway League Racing. 6 minutes is the time that everybody else has remaining to see what they are made of. Tindo was trying to give it another go, but sadly for him, invalidated. What about Espexa? Sadly for him, also another invalidation. So, nobody looking too comfortable. We will instead catch up with Mshengu, who's crossed the line to begin his second push lap, as, of course, more and more drivers keep on pushing and laying more rubber. The track becomes even more optimal, if you will, and yeah, that laid down rubber has implications as far as more grip is concerned. He improves by 2/10, does Mshengu, who's very, very quick over a single lap. You know, he now needs to translate this good performance into a possible podium finish, or hey, even a race win if he can keep it together in the race. But long way to go. 5 minutes of this session to go. The 86er will stake his claim on a possible, well, pole position, or perhaps starting towards the front, but he is on his out lap. As is Spyzozo, who's yet to set a time. And Mshengu improves by 7/10 by the end of Sector 2, but that exit was not as clean as he would have wanted. He's now going to look to regain what semblance of an advantage that he possibly can now towards the third and final sector. It's Mshengu T, hoping to really make his mark on the top of the timing tower here. Here he comes as Man Ray, breathing heavily, comes back into the pits. And Shangu, surprisingly, looked like he was going to do exactly that, but he's trying to carry a quicker line. He also improves. He's now to the 130.709, but as it stands, Man Ray is the gold standard with just under 5 minutes of this session to go. No one can touch the 129s, it seems. But as the clock ticks on, it becomes a question of biding our time here as Spizozo, Alpha Tauri driver, Alfa Romeo, I beg your pardon, is now making his way through the first sector. Behind him, I believe, is one of the McLarens. It could be Sitchvik, it could be I Am Lipo. Right now, it's Spizozo carrying so much speed as, Context dipped into the session and straight out again. Not looking too comfortable is Spizozo coming out of those corners. We know how much he loves a low downforce setup to be absolutely sensational over a straight line. But, of course, if he's chosen such a setup in this circuit, it definitely will cost him into those sequences of corners which just come rushing at you. Oh, and he sends it into the wall. Spizozo has a little bit of a moment. But thankfully for him, he's kept his wing intact. But as I say that, he sends it into the wall again. Spizozo, who loves to play with a low downforce setup, has perhaps been playing too close to the sun, if you will. He is out of qualifying on his initial push lap out here in Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, I Am Lipo is giving it a proper push as he sees the green flag, as of course the marshals are going to try and clear that Alfa Romeo of Spizozo. This is I Am Lipo instead, who has yet to set an initial time. What will it be for the McLaren driver? His teammate is P8. Can he at least challenge him? The answer is no. He'll tuck right behind Sitchvik. I Am Lipo, currently P9. And Selby Sango has been having a nightmare. Ghosting, spinning, and, thus far he may have invalidated on the in-lap. The best that he could do was a 33.629. It's P10 for Selby Sango, whose teammate is currently 4 places ahead of him. Marshy's still in the pits. Man Ray is, of course, making his way back. Letty is on an outlap as the time ticks closer and closer towards the end of this quali session. All these drivers have just 2 minutes to get into the lobby and do their thing. Here comes Tindo on perhaps what could be his final push. Last chance saloon for the Alfa Romeo driver, who now holds that team's only hope to fight for a possible pole position. Who's this slow-moving car? Oh, it's a ghosted Espexa, perhaps, or it had to be Espexa that Tindo ghosted through. Thankfully, Tindo has improved by about 6/10 by the end of Sector 1. So he would have been livid if that car did not make way for him in time. We're going to watch to see how he carries himself and navigates these sequences of corners. This is where Spizozo started coming unstuck. He hit that particular wall. Tindo did not. So, learning from his teammates' mistakes is Tindo, and he opens up that rear wing, and it looks like it's going to be a much, much cleaner lap. Of course, in comparison, now by the end of Sector 2, his improvement is 8/10. So Tindo really fighting for his life here, looking to punch his way up these standings and look to give the likes of Liddy and Shangu a lot to think about before we get to the end of this here session. Here he comes now into the final corner. It's the championship leader tailing the slow-moving Aston Martin, and he will try to get what sort of slipstream advantage he could possibly get. Across the line comes Tindo. It's a full second improvement, but only good enough for P3, 31.219 for Tindo. What about Letty? It's an invalidation, sadly, for him. Espexa, is he giving it a proper push, a proper go? Let's hop on board and see. It's Sector 1 for Espexa. Just 30 seconds that these drivers have to stake their claim, and Espexa is really, bouncing all over the track, so it's not immediately clear what kind of times Espexa is doing. Meanwhile, it has to be noted that the 86er had just crossed the line, and he had improved his best currently was a 31.759. So he's one to watch very, very closely. But before we do that, let's hop back with Man Ray, who is just having an almighty spin of his own. Unforced error here, but thankfully for him, he was still top of the pops. He will now be hoping that no one can come close to the kind of times that he put in. Luddy invalidated, so his time won't count. The 86er, let's get back to him and see how he will fare. Selby Sango is taking the checkered flag, as has Twitch, who will hope that no one below him can possibly improve. On board now with the 86er, who currently sits 20 points behind Man Ray in the championship standings, looking to stake his claim on a possible place among the front runners by the time this race starts. It's just here in Saudi Arabia at the Jeddah Corniche Circuit, and we are watching the man who's hoping to reclaim his spot among the top-tier Breakaway League racers. But as the session rolls on along, he's been knocked down a peg or two. He's knocked down to P5. Estensa also in the 130. Just a 130.906 for the Aston Martin driver. 86er opens up his DRS. He is now in that third sector, and he's rushing down towards the final corner. He gets his entry. Without incident, it doesn't look like he's going to be anywhere near a possible improvement as things currently stand. So, it's Man Ray who had that huge mistake on his final run in pole position here in Saudi Arabia. Shangu and Staxa make it an Aston Martin 2 and 3. So it's leading that second row, and Tindo is going to start this race in P4, leading the championship, of course, and fighting to maintain that advantage at the top of the standings. 86ers going to start P5, Liddy P6, Sage Fig is going to start in 7th, Twitch in 8th, Marshy 9th, I Am Lipo 10th, Selby Sango 11th, and Spy Zozo sadly could not set a time. It's going to be a P12 start for him. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. It's been, jam-packed since the start. Zotal is out here responding to some of those times that Man Ray put in earlier, lamenting what Spy did, and he's saying that 86er was out of ERS. Well, hope the Time Trial King gets a good start. That being Man Ray, of course, he needs to keep it clean and put something solid together. Man Ray is in pole position in Saudi Arabia. Look at that gap, 8/10 between P1 and 2. Sensational work by Man Ray. Estexa, starting in P3, is a second back. Tindo, 1.3, and 1.8 seconds is P5 running 86er. 2 seconds from then on out, as we get a sense of how this session came on along. 3 sets of soft tires for Man Ray. I wonder what more he would have done and how faster he could have gone were it not for that spin on his final push. Mshengu T used 2 sets of tires for his P2, and everybody, Estexa rather, and Tindo using 3 sets, and most of the grid using 2 sets, with the exception, of course, of Stage Fake, Twitch, Marshy, Lipo, and Selby Sango, who seemed to be treating this particular race as some sort of a practice session. Or rather, Selby Sango, seemingly, on that single set of tires, was possibly using this qualifying session as a practice session, just to get used to how the track feels. And it seems Fanafinder has joined the lobby, but sadly, I'm not sure if he might be in time to actually make it in the race itself. Well, Zotel, I've retired from racing. I quite enjoy being here in the commentary box. I'm much better at talking about it than actually doing it. Some of you guys are far more talented behind the wheel. Well, hopefully race control will get us underway. We need a glitch, says the lungs. Well, perhaps this is a glitch because we're just waiting to get underway here in Saudi Arabia. We've had a sense of what quali looks like, and we should be getting racing in a split second. All right, folks. I'm hearing from race control that it may yet be a glitch, so we will be getting things underway, hopefully, as soon as possible. To the Tier 2 drivers who may yet be stuck on the sidelines, perhaps this is your chance to stake your claim on the race proper here.
Ya vele abulungs vele dala bathandazela ukuthi lelo bile nifeyile yabo. Ya bathi bazo-restart already. Abulungs bangajoin nabofana find. Tell nabofana find ukuthi bangajoin.
Yes, Fana Finder and Lungs, codenamed Guzu, may yet be taking place in this race here by the time we get things started here. Restart it is, says Key Music. Restart for Fana Finder, says Crash. Interested to see what predictions Crash has as far as the race results are concerned. But yeah, I suppose now would be a good time to join the lobby. Lung says he's joking, but he definitely was hoping that things would disintegrate as far as the lobby was concerned here. Well, let us see how this lobby will go on along. Thank you for joining us, folks. It's going to be a very, very interesting race that we have here in Prospect. Fana Finder seemed to have left the session. It seems that we're going to get underway. I'm hearing from race control that there will be no restarts. So sadly for the likes of Lungs, you won't be able to take part. Oli says, wouldn't miss it. Oli, good to see you in the comment section out here. Kid K is load shed. Sadly, that is the factor limiting him from participating here. And, well, you've got a sense of the grid. Who is winning? Who is coming away with it? Can Man Ray hold his nerve? He's got 25 laps to do so. And one of the Aston Martins very quick to get this formation lap underway. We're going to get a sense of what the thinking is as far as tire strategies are concerned. Crash will be happy with this. Only 4 drivers opting to start in the hards. Those being this man, Luddy, down in P6. Twitch in 8th place. Lipo in 10th, and Spizozo, currently running P12. Those are the drivers that are going to start this race on those hard compounds. Otherwise, it's mediums for everybody else. Context Zyper is here, and he's going to start in 10th place as things currently stand. He is currently 5th in the championship standings as Context, racked up 51 points. Context and this man, Lipo, are level on points. In P5 and 6 respectively, and they're being chased by this man, Spizozo, 7th in the standings, 49 championship points. Shangu, who's all the way in P2, is 8th in the championship standings, 36 points that he has racked up. Man Ray has looked so good in qualifying time and again, needs to convert that into a possible podium or even what would be a memorable race win. Espexa dipping in and out of the session. Hopefully we could have him back by the time things kick off here. And we will see how that pans out for him. Hopefully he could be back. Man Ray looking good, looking comfortable, leading the pack. And yeah, Espexa the ghost thereof in P3. You got to be careful if he's not back in time. Tindo will make light work of the ghost of that Aston Martin. As will this man, the 86er. These guys, Tindo and the 86er, at the top of the standings, separated by just 20 points. And really looking to fight and find their way back to the top tier of Breakaway Racing League. Shangu T did not get his card placement correct. Will Tindo also get that DSQ for failing to hit the right spot? The answer is yes, 86er. Similar note for him. Sig Fig is fine, as is the likes of Twitch, and some of the backmarkers are now making their way towards the front of proceedings. Well, folks, it's going to be 25 laps. Spizozo is here. Context, Selby Songo, Lipo, Marshy, Twitch, Sigfig, Liddy, 86er Tindo. Man Ray is going to start off in the lead. It is, of course, that time of the night where we get things underway. In race number 10, it is lights out. The only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. Man Ray hangs on to the race lead. Mshengu hangs on to P2. Tindo makes light work of that ghost. But as I say that, is he under threat here? The 86er has moved up 2 places. He's surpassed Tindo. He's now up to P3. Tindo trying to fight back. Sitch Fig is fighting his way, as is Marshy, who's gained 2 places. Context has moved up 5 places since the start of this race. What a start for him. But let's go back to the race lead. Corner cutting. 86er. He did not give the position back. He gets a time penalty for that. 86er, rookie error for him. He's still fighting off Tindo, who is now in P4. The 86er gaining 2 places, one of them illegally, according to the race control. He's now going to have to fight his way back into the reckoning. This is his point of view, being chased by Tindo, who is now almost a full second behind the Hazard car. Ooh. 86er almost going into the wall there, but manages to keep it together. Tindo will need no second invitation to possibly challenge the Haas driver. On board now with Tindo, who is fighting for his life to reclaim that race spot, but of course he knows that the 86er's time penalty will come back to bite him before all is said and done. Twitch, what a start for him. He's gained all those places. 3 places he's gained up. But of course, none of the drivers having moved anywhere near as close as Context, who is being challenged by Luddy now in this final sector as they rush towards that final corner. That left-hander, Luddy almost making contact with the back of that Mercedes W13. It's a huge scrap, a huge fight here, as they're now going to use as much ERS as they possibly can to try and get out of the clutches of the car that is in the chasing positions behind them. Context is absolutely sending it behind the McLaren, but he's going to have the inside line to make contact. They both spin out. Synchronized spinning for Contact and Sitch Fig, who will be livid with the contact the Mercedes drivers made. Luddy says thank you very much. He's now up to P6, regaining and coming back to the position where he started his race. Context way too eager over there, as Man Ray has managed to eke out a decent advantage. At the start of this race, the gap is now 9/10 between himself and Mshengu. What a start. What an absolutely sensational race start we have had here. Aspectsa network issues costing him. He is now out, of course, of proceedings. He could not start this race courtesy of those network issues. Mshengu was fighting for his life, as is this man, the 86er, tapping that analog, tapping that steering wheel, trying to make sure that his line is as uncompromised as it possibly can be. Behind the 86er, of course, by a factor of about 1.7 seconds, 1.8 seconds, is Tindo. Well, those two in P3 and 4 were fighting it out in that initial lap. Of Tindo falling back, struggling to stay in touch with the 86er here in this second lap of 25. What a scrap we have here in Jeddah. The field really seeming to be leveling out with each and every passing lap. Man Ray is quickest. Man Ray is in the lead. Man Ray firmly in control. 1.5 seconds is the advantage that the Alpine driver has. Meanwhile, in the midfield, it is Selby Songo fighting off Context, who will be kicking himself for that huge mistake that he made, which compromised, of course, himself, and Sitch Fig, who now finds himself in P11. On board now with Selby Songo, who is fighting to try and stay in touch with I Am Lipo. Man Ray, huge mistake at the top. Was it a spin? Oh, man, look at that. He's ghosted. He may have hit the wall. He may have spun off camera. And Man Ray, who was in firm control, has lost his front right wing end plate and is now down to P4. And in all likelihood will have to pit early. Again, unforced errors, forcing Man Ray to absolutely, compromise his own prospects. He was in firm control of this race, but now he's going to have to fight his way back from P4, seemingly. Bad day for the Alpine driver. Back on board with Selby Songo, who's fighting Context. Would you look at that? Context having dispatched of the veteran driver, who in this season is in the command of Red Bull. On board with Selby Songo we go. It's a beautiful little DRS train we have all the way from Spy Zozo down to this man, Selby Songo, hunting down that Mercedes W13. Was careful on the brakes, wasn't he there? He could have had a huge howler if he was not so careful as far as his braking was concerned. Beautiful overhead shot. We get there courtesy of our producers. Look at that. Spizozo trying to trying to fight off I Am Lipo behind him. It's the battle essentially for P7. Man Ray has fallen down a peg or two. That is because he is in the pits. And, well, by the end of this, he may yet find himself fighting from all the way from the back of the pack. Here comes Context. He thought about going for it on the inside of I Am Lipo, but was not close enough. Spizozo holding his own. Context. Don't be too hasty once again on the same corner where he lost it last time with Sidge Fig. This time, he takes an alternate line, and this time, he gets the overtake done cleanly on the other McLaren. Context now up to P7 on his fight back drive here in Jeddah. And it looks like Man Ray has come out of the pits at the back of the pack. Fresh set of hard compound tires. He's going to take it now from lap 4, hopefully for him, all the way to lap 25 if we do not get a full safety car before the end of proceedings here. So, Context is now playing a more patient game after that mistake, which cost him dearly. He finds himself now hunting down Spizozo, whose straight line speed is nothing to be scoffed at, as we very well know. But watch Spizozo through these slower corners, and watch how much he struggles comparatively to Context as far as his cornering is concerned, as far as his downforce may yet impact him between now and the end of proceedings. Context has about 57% worth of battery power and will bide his time and hopefully make that overtake once they get to a DRS zone. Ooh, Context's corner exits are far cleaner than Spizozo, but this is, of course, not a section that is riddled with corners. So Spizozo will be looking to take advantage. He goes on the outside to Spizozo. Context tries to go for it. He's got the inside line on the exit of the corner. Spizozo tucks inside and tries to slow down the Mercedes W13, which has too much speed, and Context breezes past the Alfa Romeo. Oh no, I spoke too soon. They make contact, and Spizozo spins out facing the wrong way, and he's surpassed by a couple of cars. Both McLarens passed Spizozo, who will be livid with that contact that was made between himself and Context, who is now running in P6. What a recovery drive it is for Context. Man Ray is absolutely screwed. People lamenting all those mistakes, which have really cost Man Ray dearly. And as I say that, the new race leader in lap 5 of 25 is the 86er. Courtesy of Shengu, who also seems to have made a mistake costing him the race lead. Yep, his front right wing end plate is gone. And Shengu, who was fighting for a race win now, is fighting to hang on to P4. But as it stands, he's not going to be able to. Liddy on the inside becomes Liddy into P4. The Williams driver overtaking Shengu, who has made an error costing him the race lead. So, unforced errors forcing Man Ray out of the race lead. Unforced errors, lost wing costing him Shengu out of the race lead, handing over momentum to none other than the 86er, who sadly for him has about 8 seconds worth of time penalty, courtesy of overtaking at the wrong place of the track, moving off track to overtake, and a 3-second time penalty on top of that for track limit incursions. 86er has a huge moment coming out of that initial sequence of corners, and now is going to hope to regain composure and regain momentum to try and build as much of a gap as possible. As things stand, 86er will really have to have a miracle race if he's even going to secure a podium here, considering that 8 seconds worth of time penalties that he has racked up. Tindo follows suit. Oh man, follow the leader. Tindo racks up a time penalty for track limit incursions. So now he's going to have to fight off the specter of Twitch, who, thankfully for Tindo, is a full 9 seconds behind the top two. Race leaders looking quick, but not looking perfect as far as their track limit incursions are concerned. Liddy, what a recovery for him. Started, I think, P6, has gained 2 net positions since the start of this race, and Context on what is a recovery drive for him, starting at the back of the pack, now P5. And keeping it intact, as now has to hold his nerve and make sure that he does not make any further contact with any of the remaining drivers. It's a McLaren battle in the midfield, P8, P7, I Am Lipo, and Sidge Fig. Looks like Sidge Fig could be on the verge of an overtake of his teammate here. Lipo, red light was flashing, meaning that battery power is down to 10% or less. Sidge Fig will be right on his teammate's tail and will open up that rear wing for DRS and try to gain as much momentum as possible. Takes the outside line and gets the overtake done cleanly. He's now up to P7. Mandla says Man Ray can still win. Watch this. Watch closely. Well, it would be a heck of a drive and definitely a Hall of Fame Breakaway Racing League drive if Man Ray can get that done. Meanwhile, Liddy is now in P4 hunting down Twitch. Williams versus Team Red Bull. Let's see what Twitch can do. Of course, Twitch's teammates has also been fighting his way up the pack. Salvi Sango in P6, just a couple of positions behind these guys. Ooh, Twitch not having a load of fun in this sequence of corners. Liddy is going to go for it. Liddy on the outside as he looks to conclude. Sector 1 is now up into the podium places, but Twitch says no. Makes that car as wide as possible, holds the inside line, and hangs on to that P3 spot. Oh, it's a beautiful battle for a podium here. But as they do that, Context, it inches ever closer. Now up to P5, now within DRS. It's a beautiful race that we have out here in Jeddah. On board with the Mercedes driver. Oh, Zotal in the comments reckons it's Tindo for the win. Look at Liddy thinking about it on the outside of that car. Liddy has overtaken Tindo into the sequence of corners. What a beautiful move. He gets that done. And Tindo's not going to have to bide his time. Context, be careful not to make contact. Context is going wheel to wheel with Twitch over here, and he's going to have to be very, very careful. We've seen them make contact earlier, and Twitch is going to have the inside line and Context on the outside. Can he get the move done? They're wheel to wheel, side by side, and Context is up. Context may have got this move done, and he is now going to go 3 to Formula Cars. It is 3 wide going into turn 1, and Liddy has lost the momentum. He's now down to P5. Liddy led before the end of the lap, and now he's at the back of this 3-way fight. Finds himself in P5. Oh, man. Context is dangerous, so says Ingawako, a.k.a. D-Wax in the comment section. Lap 8 of 25. Liddy, can he compose himself? Can he regain a little bit of momentum and find himself back in the reckoning for this P3 spot? Well, Context is not going to make it easy. Espex's car, what the heck is it doing over there? Still parked. Oh, Liddy on the outside of the Red Bull, but Twitch is going to hang on to that spot on the inside line. It's a repeat of the previous scenario where Liddy was trying to overtake this very car, and he's going to have to bide his time because Liddy managed to gain momentum on this sequence of corners. It seems that Twitch struggles on this section of the track. Liddy's going to try and go on the outside of Twitch, which is soon going to turn into the inside when they curl towards the right. Oh, Liddy almost sending it into the wall, but Liddy is side by side. Twitch is going to have the inside line. It's a slow left-hander, but Liddy gets the overtake done. It's a beautiful move by the Williams driver, and Liddy has the last lap on lap 8 of 25. But remember how he was overtaken on that rush towards turn 1, so Liddy's going to need to keep it clean. He must relax. He's got the tire compound advantage, so says Zotal in the comment section. Keep it calm, keep it clean, breathe, Liddy, take it easy. It's advantage Liddy, or is it? Because here comes Twitch on the fight back, on the outside, and back up to P4. What a sensational battle we've got here. And Twitch finds himself back into the reckoning for that possible podium place. And Liddy is going to try and fight back once again. What a beautiful battle we've had between these two. Lap after lap, Twitch getting his own back, so says Zotal. And as these two fight, Twitch's teammate Selby Sango inches ever closer. He's now 2.3 seconds behind P5 running Liddy as Selby Sango. Beautiful stuff as far as he's concerned. Oh, Liddy goes off track on the exit of that corner, and on board now with the Williams driver, who's got about 20% of his battery power remaining in lap 9 of 25. This is usually where Twitch preferred that inside line, but on this instance, he goes wide into the entry of that particular corner. Twitch, Liddy rather, biding his time as far as battery use is concerned, and this sequence of corners is where Liddy generally gets a little bit closer, and as I say that, that gap is now hovering at the half a second mark. So Liddy not quite eking out the same advantage that he managed on previous laps, and he's going to look to bide his time and perhaps get his own back when they get back onto that main straight, or perhaps even before, because here comes Liddy attacking the inside of the Red Bull, and he's got DRS advantage, of course, does the Williams driver. He was not close enough to get the move done. Oh, he goes for it! He dives on that last corner. Liddy, I thought, was going to buy this time. I thought, well, if you're going to make room, I'm just going to walk through that door. Here comes Twitch on the fight back. Superior straight line speed. Sensational from Twitch, who's been saving up his battery. Look at that. 68% worth of battery power for Twitch compared to Liddy, who's now down to about 30%. Beautiful drive for them. Context has built up a huge advantage after having taken part in the battle that we were just watching there. So he's now about 12 seconds behind Tindo, as we get a sense of what the gap is to the race leader. Tindo has kept it quiet ever since racking up that time penalty. He's hanging on at about 2.3 seconds behind the race leader. He's hanging on to that P2 spot, the 86er in lap 10, despite those errors, which really have cost him dearly. Remember, he's got 8 seconds worth of time penalties, does the 86er. He, of course, has a 2.5 second advantage over Tindo. Context, chasing them. He's about 14 seconds behind the race leader. Twitch is a full 20 seconds behind the race leader. And, of course, this man, Liddy, who's given us such a beautiful battle between from here. We're going to get back on board with Liddy as Twitch almost closes the door on him. But Liddy races past the Red Bull, who will now have to tuck into the slipstream of the Williams car and hope to get that DRS advantage and fight back into that P4 spot. What a beautiful battle these two particularly have given us. And I do wonder if Selby Songo is inching closer. Yes, a couple of laps ago, Selby Songo was more than 2.5 seconds behind these two, but now he's about 1.5 seconds, hovering over there. Hovering at that mark. Skex's car hoping for a car wash, not going to get one. Here comes Twitch back into turn one, inside line. Will they make a little bit of contact? Oh, they did. And Twitch had a little bit of a moment. Hopefully that bump, that snap of the steering wheel that Twitch had will give Liddy a bit of an advantage. But as I say that, it doesn't look like Twitch is going to be going down without a fight. It's Wednesday action night in lap 11 of 25. If you've just joined us, these two, Twitch, Liddy, fighting for a possible podium finish, have been giving us some sensational entertainment here. And Twitch, on his fight back, falls out of DRS and possibly into the clutches of his very own teammate. Crash's Twitch is very cautious. He stays backing out. Oh, man. What a beautiful battle these two have given us. We're going to catch up with them at a later stage to see how they will fare. At the back of the pack is Marshy. He's about 12 seconds behind Spizoso, but of course he has pitted. Has Marshy twice, so perhaps unforced errors, forcing the Alpha Tauri driver into a couple of stops. Finds himself 13 seconds behind the pack. Spizoso, also having had that one stop, is 5 seconds behind P10 running Sig Fig, fighting for Team McLaren today. Now, Mshengu T has also made his stop. He's about 2 seconds behind this man, Man Ray, who led proceedings, but finds himself all the way down to P8. Among the leaders, Tindo becomes the first to come into the pits. It looks like a wing change for Tindo, and fits a set of, it looks like hard compound tires. Hard compound tires for Tindo, and comes back into the race at P6. Remember, Tindo also has that 3-second time penalty to contend with. Now, Man Ray will be hoping that Tindo's pit stop and Tindo's tire warm-up will make sure that he at least gets a little bit of momentum and somehow tries to catch up to the back of that Alfa Romeo. In lap 12 of 25, Man Ray, having already stopped, is going to hope to make these tires sing and take them all the way to the end of proceedings here. Man Ray, now to take Tindo. Go for it, go for it. Perhaps being nudged on, being encouraged in the comments section. Tindo is now getting as much as he possibly can as far as warming up those tires are concerned, running in P6. I am Lipo. And making his way through Sector 1 as you get that gorgeous helicopter shot. He is About, 3.7 seconds behind Twitch. Here comes the race leader, the 86er, who perhaps we will see serving that time penalty. Look at that gap between the 86er when he came in. 16 seconds. Insane advantage that he had built up. The team waits. 86er, remember, had that 5-second time penalty. Context behind the 86er will also come into the pits at the same lap. And, of course, he will gain 5 seconds on the 86er. Meanwhile, that sequence of pit stops means that Liddy, who started on the hard, leads the race from Twitch. And the 86er has at least served 5 seconds of his 8-second total penalty. So the 86er now has to worry about that 3-second remaining time penalty between now and the end of this race. Lap 13 of 25, Twitch about 7/10 behind the race leader. Oh man, now these two who've given us some sensational entertainment are going to scrap it out, juke it out for the race lead. But perhaps I spoke too soon, because the 86er, trying to warm up his tires, is less than 2 seconds behind the leading pack. So, Twitch, what can you do this time around? Can you give Liddy a couple more headaches? Well, I know for a fact that the 86er will be cheering them on, egging them on, and hoping that they do exactly that. Because that'll bring the 86er back into the reckoning, especially considering the time penalty that the 86er has. If Twitch and Liddy fight really, really hard, that buys the 86er even more time in his fight back. And, of course, the harder they fight, then assuming that there will be no safety cars between now and the end of the race, the 86er will really be grinning from ear to ear here, because they'll fight it out, and then they'll eventually come into the pits, while the 86er hopefully ekes out a little bit of an advantage. He weaves to the left and the right, does the hatch driver, trying to get a semblance of temperature into those tires. And back down in P5, Tindo trying to find his way back into the reckoning, goes on the inside of I Am Lipo and gets that overtake done as he begins lap 14 up to P4, 2.8 seconds behind them. Twitch and Liddy are back at it again. Twitch went off the track in that fight back, and look at the 86er, who is now within DRS. He's in less than half a second behind the race leaders. Oh, overtakes all over the track, and Shengu seems to be fighting with Henry back at another part of the track. Here comes the 86er, hoping to claim that P2 spot from Twitch, whose attention has switched from overtaking Liddy to defending the 86er. So, Twitch's attentions are now seemingly fully on the hatch driver behind him, 86er, who will hope to just get this move done and hunt down the race leader and just get himself in the reckoning for a possible memorable race win despite time penalties here. But time will tell. On board now with the hatch driver, the 86er, whose tires are now well and truly cooking, well and truly warmed up. 86er gives Twitch a wide berth, and on the left-hander overtakes Twitch. Oh, make a little bit of contact, but Twitch manages to keep it together, and Twitch, whose 13-lap-old hard compound tires are screaming, has to concede and contend with running in P3. Twitch for Red Bull is now in that third spot, and behind him is the specter of Tindo. Man, oh man, what a race we have here in prospect between now and the end of proceedings, but a long way to go. Long way to go. As C-Clay reckons, I wouldn't fight with old tires. It just slows you down. Here comes the 86er on the inside of Twitch, and he gets that move done. Twitch was actually attacking the 86er once again, but he could not get that move done. 86er tapping on that analog, tapping on the steering wheel, trying to make sure that he does not make a crucial mistake, as we now have the final 10 laps of racing to look forward to out here in Saudi Arabia. The Jeddah Corniche Circuit has served up entertainment without abandon. Here comes Tindo, now within DRS of Twitch. Can he find himself in the reckoning for that P3 spot? Can he get this overtake done? Twitch's tires aching, screaming for some sort of solace as things currently stand. But these hard tire runners, Liddy and Twitch, will definitely have their work cut out for them between now and the end of proceedings. Liddy T, what a race for him, says Charlie 3 Stacks, as we get another sensational sweeping overhead shot in this majestic circuit. Tindo breaks later than Twitch there. Twitch's tires, of course, are at this stage definitely complaining. At this point, we know the tire whisperer, Titus, would be somehow making these tires sing. Twitch and the 86 and Liddy are trying to do exactly that. Uncle Wacko D-Wack says, hey, Twitch, you need to pit, man. He does not do that, does Twitch. He carries on as lap 15 becomes 16. They pass the ghost, the stationary ghost of Estexa, which is mired on that main straight. Crash is hoping for a safety car. Crash wants to see a sprinkling of drama between now and the end of the race. Hard to stop. That is what Zoltal reckons these top runners are trying to do, that being Liddy and Twitch. Man, that would really be a brave strategy indeed, as we are on board with Tindo, who's trying to find his way back into the reckoning. His tires are 4 laps old, but he could not do so at that particular time. The 86er has toiled, he has huffed, he has puffed, and he's made some errors, unforced errors, which caused him to be slowed down in the pit lane. But right now, he is on the brink of reclaiming the lead of this race. Let's get back to the comments. Crash says, no, I'm not praying for safety car. I'm saying Liddy and Twitch. Well, let's see how it goes here. Tindo seems to be closer within this foursome of getting that overtake done. He's going to think about going on the outside of Twitch. Will he get it done? Who breaks later? The answer is Tindo. Far braver on the brakes, and Tindo has the outside line and gets that overtake down. He's now up in the top 3 as Liddy comes into the pits, finally followed by Twitch. It looks like the 86er and Tindo will now reclaim the battle for the race win. Man, oh man, oh man. Both these drivers with 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Context, who had pitted earlier, of course, now is up into P3. Liddy and Twitch have made their pit stops, and they now come out of the pits hoping to be within contention at least for a podium finish. But this being lap 17, it's really going to take a sensational drive from them. Twitch on the exit of the pit is under duress, under pressure from Lipo, who is now less than a second behind Twitch, who still needs to get those medium tires up into optimum temperature. Now, courtesy of these guys coming into the pits, Manray and Mshengu are in P4 and 5 respectively, trying to fight their way back into the reckoning here, as we are now in lap 17 of a total 25 out here at the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. What a sensational race we have had here pretty much from the beginning. Look at Man Ray, says Mandla, perhaps proud of the recovery that the Alpine driver had made. Those errors really forced him out of the reckoning, found himself tumbling down the order. He really would have been one of the biggest beneficiaries of a safety car, but the safety car did not come. We had fairly clean racing throughout this grid here, and he finds himself in P4. Tindo and the 86 are on those fresh mediums, rack up the newest, fastest laps. 33.960 is now the benchmark held by this man, Tindo, in Team Alfa Romeo. Of course, has to think about those time penalties as well, has to keep it inch perfect between now and the end of the race. They have a decent buffer of about 7.5 seconds between them and this man, that being Context Zephyr, who is being hunted down by Man Ray. On board now with the Alpine driver we go. He's, of course, circumspect going through those corners. Eases completely off the throttle there, even though he was in gear 6. It's sector 1. Zephyr builds up an advantage by a couple of tenths. That gap just becomes now a 1.5 seconds. It was hovering at the 1.2 second mark before the end of that sector. So it's a lot of work now for Context to do between now and the end of the race to keep this man, Man Raymond, keep him at bay. Mshengu is 1.7 seconds behind. It's going to be a decent points haul for Mshengu, who also at some point was leading proceedings, but right now has to find himself back into the reckoning. Don Ramico says Man Ray has to pit. Well, he pitted earlier than he would have wanted to. I think it was lap 3 or 4 that he pitted. And now those hard tires are really aging. And the difference between Context's tires and Man Ray's tires are definitely gonna be the telling factor between now and the end of proceedings. 6 laps of racing to go. If you've just joined us, it's been a really beautiful one. It's been a solid night of Breakaway League racing here, and we've really had some decent entertainment. I am Lipo hunting down Twitch, who on the restart has struggled to find himself back within the clutches of Liddy, back in the reckoning. Oh, Twitch goes wide there. I am Lipo. Now, gets a little bit of advantage. That gap is now half a second between these guys. Lipo, on the verge of what will be a decent point haul here today, but he wants to turn that P7 into a possible, rather that P8 into a possible 7, at the very least between now and the end of proceedings. Gets a wide exit. Twitch trying to keep it together. Trying to keep composure. Keeps it clean, does I am Lipo. Also, try to keep things consistent and steady. He's 6th in the driver's standings is I am Lipo. Twitch is all the way down in P11. So he will want to find himself, if he can't get an automatic quali up towards Tier 1, Lipo will at least look to consolidate his position among the playoff spots. And then it'll, of course, be a lottery, a roll of the dice to see who can hold their nerve and keep it together and gain that promotional spot. Now, he loses momentum in this battle and falls behind. He's now about a second behind Twitch, 1.2 seconds on the exit of that corner. His teammate is 9 seconds behind him, that being Sage Fakes by Zozo down in P10. Unforced errors costing him dearly. He's now running 13-lap old medium compound tires. Man, what a miracle it would be if Spizoso takes these mediums all the way to the end. He'd definitely be screaming by the end of proceedings, but as I say that, it looked like he may have been thinking about going on the into the pit lane, but he didn't do that. Marshy is down in P11, and Selby Sango, veteran breakaway driver, is now at the bottom of the standings, P12 for the Red Bull driver. And let's get back now to the battle between M. Shengu, possibly, and Man Ray. They are about separated by about 1.3 seconds. M. Shengu tires, about 2 lap tire difference between these two. Trying to hold his own, as Crash notes that the 86er is doing a solid job hanging on to that race lead and possible race win. He has an advantage of about 1.7 seconds, does the 86er, as lap 20 becomes lap 21. Here comes Tindo, hunting down the Haas driver. Selby Sango at the back of the pack, racks up a time penalty, so it's a nightmare day for the veteran Selby Sango. Got his work cut out for him if he's going to find his way back into the reckoning here. Ooh, Tindo. A little bit heavy across that particular corner. Loses a 10th on the exit there, but quickly regains it, as it looks like the 86er is not very comfortable through Sector 1. Tindo, in those sequence of corners, has gained just a couple of tenths there on the 86er, who, it must be said, is now on the verge of overtaking Selby Sango. Man, oh man, oh man. Selby Sango getting lapped in lap 21 of 25. Twitch racks up a 3-second time penalty, as the 86er just wants to get past the ghost of Selby Sango here. But he'll be thankful that at the very least he's getting DRS courtesy of that ghost. So he will hope... Selby Sango at the back of the pack has a huge spin! Oh man, he was on those 4-lap old mediums. He brings out that yellow flag to Selby Sango. And now the 86ers DRS, darling, if you will, is gone. He's now out of the reckoning. So now 86ers is now going to have to fight for his life on his own without the help of Selby Sango's ghost. and Tindo is now 2 seconds behind the 86er. So the ghost of Salvi Songo, having helped out the 86er, dragged him along with that DRS, and with 3 laps to go, and with these drivers on identical time penalties, it's a battle of wits. And I do wonder if the 86er can keep it together. Salvi Songo in the pits, I believe, retires from this race. And that is the end of Salvi Songo's race, knowing, of course, that he had been lapped. And, well, it's pretty much tickets for Salvi Songo. Leaves the session, sadly for him. A nightmare day for Salvi Songo. Zotal says he must just retire.
Atsusathile makavela yeka for isimo sakhe mara sokuyisona Stelvisong usebe bekavaya engenkathi yakhe back in our days back in the day bekavaya still.
Tindo cuts the corner there as he really has a huge struggle coming out of that particular corner, but manages to hang on there. That gap, which was 2 seconds, becomes 2.8 seconds. So 86er holding his nerve in the final part of the race here. Man, oh man, oh man. Tindo will be glad. Had a heart-in-mouth moment there in the final stages of this race, but he's still within 2.8 seconds. So at this point, Tindo will hope that the 86er can make perhaps another mistake, which would cost him a further 3-second time penalty. We are now into the final stages of this race. And what a day it's been for the 86er. His red light is flashing. He has used up all of his battery power to try and stay out of the clutches of the chasing pack. He made a huge mistake at the beginning of the race. He racked up this time penalty early on. Very early in this race, he racked up that 3-second time penalty. And then his overtake was deemed illegal, but he did not give that place back, which added a further 5 seconds worth of penalties, which he then served when he came in to have his pit stop. And now, as these tires age further and further, 10-lap old tires for Tindo, 11-lap rather for 86er, 11-lap old for Tindo. Of course, would have been more and more treacherous if the 86er was going to be forced to pit much, much earlier than he would have wanted to. Tindo is managing to stay in touch. He's still within that 3-second mark. Context is behind by a further 6.5 seconds. Sige racks up a time penalty behind these guys. Man Ray is hoping to be in the reckoning for that final podium spot, but looking at those gaps, it may yet be a tall order. Man Ray may have to be content with coming home in P4 if the top 3 drivers do not change position and there are no dramatic incidences between now and the end of the race. M. Shengu, P5 would be a decent points haul for him on his attempt to find his way back to the top tier. Liddy is back exactly where he started. P6 was where he started this race. He finds himself exactly there, even though he gave us some sensational battles between himself and this man, Twitch, who is currently running in 7th place. I Am Lipo is currently P8. With the time penalty to contend with, and Sige Fig has also got that time penalty in P9. Spyzozo has rolled the proverbial dice at the end of proceedings here, and perhaps knowing that there's such a small field here, he is gunning for that fastest lap so that he can claim an extra point on top of that one that he would be guaranteed for finishing in P10. Marshy has had some issues and struggled, and a couple of moments with the wall, but finds himself P11, about 2.8 seconds behind Spyzozo. So his roll of the dice, that being Spyzozo, is going to need to be without incident. But as I say that, Spyzozo loses, has a little bit of a twitch of the rear end of his car there, but manages to keep it together as he screams down towards the line to begin lap 24 of 25. Man, oh man, oh man, what a beautiful race we have had over here. Looks like Mshengu versus Man Ray is going to be the closest battle here in the penultimate lap of the race. Don Radical says 0-0 wings around here. That would be very, very brave, running the lowest possible downforce in a track where the corners just come screaming towards you. And Charlie's 3 stacks is just putting out the feelers, checking whether the champion of Tier 1, Seakley, will be racing tomorrow. Mshengu trying to send it down towards Man Ray at the begins the final lap of this race, but he's not close enough to affect that overtake. So Man Ray, who could have been fighting for the race win, is now defending for his life versus M. Shangu. And of course, further down the road, the 86er has managed to keep his advantage versus Tindo at the front of the pack. Oh, M. Shangu was sending it. M. Shangu is going to go for it. M. Shangu is less than 2 tenths behind Man Ray here. None of these guys have time penalties to contend with. Here comes M. Shangu in sector 1. He will hit the inside line, will he? No, Man Ray closes the door as he takes that left-hander, but he is under so much pressure. Luddy racks up a time penalty behind these two, and M. Shangu is absolutely giving it his all here. He has given us one final battle. Oh, he loses a little bit, and all of a sudden he mumbled with the wall. He does kiss the wall, and that is his prospects gone. Tindo racks up a final time penalty in the final stages of this race, which basically means that the race win is going to none other than this man, the 86er, whose mistakes would have cost him dearly were it not for a sensational recovery drive from all those penalties. But he shows his quality, he shows his experience, and he shows why he deserves to be among the contenders for automatic promotion. It's a memorable race win from the 86er in Saudi Arabia. Context comes on P2. What happened to Tindo? Oh, 6-second time penalty costing Tindo dearly. Context, what a recovery drive from him. Remember, he started at the back of the pack. P2 for Justice, a.k.a. Context. Tindo will claim the third and final podium place. Man Ray, time trial king, is, dethroned, if you will, as far as the race is concerned, because P4 was the best that he could do. But still, considering he was at the back of the pack, P4 is something that he will not scoff at all. M. Shangu comes home P5, Liddy P6, Twitch comes home in P7, I Am Lipo is in P8, and Sige Fig is the third last driver that we're waiting for, will come home P9. Spizozo, will his attempt to claim a fastest lap, will that bear fruit? Will that come to reality on the final lap of the race? Here comes the Alfa Romeo driver on the last lap across the line. Spizozo crosses line in P10. It's not the fastest lap for him. Marshy will come home in that final P11 spot. Man, oh man, oh man. What a sensational race we have had here. Memorable proceedings. Context is rated the game's driver of the day. Is he your driver of the day? He started at the back. He finished in P2. Man, who's your driver of the day? Let us know in the comments section. Clean race says Zotal. It should have been Man Ray, says Ingowako aka D-Wax. Seaflay a bit disappointed, saying Man Ray always bottles it. What a race, says Mex in the comment section. Tindo. Zotal a bit disappointed with how Tindo's prospects ended there. Seaflay says Man Ray recovered well, but he must stop bottling it. Those unforced errors costing Man Ray dearly. Tindo fumbles it at the last minute, says Titus, as Zotal says 86er is coming back home. He is coming back home. Will that be the case? I wonder. I'll tell you what. He has come straight into the commentary box, and he's feeling at home here. He just grabbed the secondary mic. 86er at the top of the podium step. How does that feel? Take us through that dramatic race.
Oh, wow, that was wild, Titus. That was a crazy race. I knew my race pace would be good. So I knew if I got a decent position on the grid that, I can make a comeback. So super nervous at the beginning. Almost had a crash with Tindo in the beginning. Got a 5-second penalty, which, no need to dispute anymore. So, yeah, it feels good.
But agnastigo sok disputa baba. But
Beautiful stuff, 86er. Beautiful stuff. How worried were you? I mean, we just saw those penalties racking up early on in the race. I think it was before lap 5. You had something like 8 seconds cumulatively. So we knew that when you would come into the pits, you'd have to serve that. How worried were you in the beginning? Or was it a case of you being just so comfortable on this track that you just knew that you could fight back?
Yeah, so I think the first penalty, the 5 seconds from the first corner, I was comfortable with that one because I knew that, Tindo pushed me wide and didn't leave me space, so I knew I could dispute that. The 3 seconds, there was nothing I could do about it. I wasn't getting warnings to let me know that I was, about to get a penalty. So when I got the 3 seconds, I was like, let me refocus and, just make sure I stay within track limits. And then another thing is I saw the gap to context. I saw my gap with Tinder. Once Tinder got the 3 second penalty, I was like, okay, cool. We've got this.
Yeah. Man, what a drive, man. That was beautiful to see you hold your own and hold your nerve, especially after you came out of the pit lane. Tindo is on the podium again. Tindo was hunting down this Tier 2 championship. He's in firm control of the standings. Before today, you were 20 points ahead. Take us through that race. Congratulations, Tindo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I also knew Menray was going to make a mistake, to be honest. I wasn't worried about that. But
Yeah.
but hard luck to Menray though. Good comeback by him.
Yeah. 86er, can you give us some insights into how you set your car up for this particular track? Was it a aggressively low downforce setup for you, 86er?
I think. Thank you, 86er. So I think it was just finding a balance between straight line speed and being able to navigate around the corners. I think, like Tindo said, my straight line speed was pretty dope. So I knew on this track you need to be able to, once you're ahead of someone, stay ahead and then also be able to catch up. So I knew straight line speed was going to be important, but also straight line speed means nothing if you can't make it around the corner. So I just try to find a setup that was a balance between the two.
All right, and man, what a performance that was, gentlemen. Next up is Brazil. What are your comfort levels around there, Tindo? Hey, 86er, same question to you.
So I think after Belgium, to be honest, I felt like I could have won Belgium. Unfortunately, I had the incident with Menray. So I think, my mantra is still the same as, it's been the whole season. Take everything race by race, corner by corner. And I think, if you finish, that's how you score points. So that's my aim, is to finish races, because I think when I finish, good results come.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Congratulations. Your fight back, straight back to the top tier is well underway, and you've got very good momentum in the second half of this season. We will see you racing in Brazil on Monday. Remember to tune in at 8 p.m. Yes, Tindo, did you have a final thing to say? Oh, no. Yes. All right, no worries. So thank you, everybody.
I have one thing to say. I just want to give you a shout out for your commentary, man. Your commentary is legendary. Thank you for doing such a dope job.
Thank you, bro. I just have all of the fun with it.
Shout out, Blood Sox.
It's all good, guys.
It's a bomb, man. It's a bomb.
We will see you in Brazil on Monday, right here, 8 p.m. 86er Tindo. And, of course, context, the podium finishers. Congratulations to the top three. Liddy walks away home with the fastest lap of the day, as you can see over there. And tomorrow, it is Tier 1 on this very track. I'm just going to catch up with the final comments before ending the broadcast. Man Ray says, this is progress because I pushed and no one overtook me after that. Mshengu as well. Mshengu tried, but he failed to overtake Man Ray. And C. Clay was saying he hopes to see the guys tomorrow. And yeah, a couple of people congratulating 86er. A couple of shouts for him for driver of the day and context as well. Tindo, of course, a couple of congratulations for him. Thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow for Tier 1, 7:30 p.m. Thank you and good night.